Honest to goodness, I have no idea if I ever uploaded the other video that I recorded some time ago. Actually, gosh, it's been like a month and a half since I recorded that video. Um, but I've had it up as unlisted for ages on this channel because I don't know. I was more venting than actually being serious about putting that video on the channel. But I may do it anyway because even if it was kind of venti, maybe it had a point worth making in it. But that's neither here nor there because I don't know. I've been thinking about stuff lately, and I just wanted to I don't know talk for a moment about it. Specifically, I've been kind of thinking about this Robin Hood series that's been going on television. Um, I say, I say television like it's 1998. But I'm talking about the Robin Hood series. You know, modern reimagining done by Director X. That is more than a little, shall we say, questionable in its choices, artistically and culturally, and in how it wants to depict black people. I think I'm thinking it more in the sense of something else that I've been thinking about talking about for the past several months. I'm not going to get into the details, but I have a new job since the last time you've seen anything on this channel. And it takes me on a completely different route to work. Well, not a completely different, just basically walking in the opposite direction. But the thing about it is that during that walk, maybe about a third of the way through, I passed by a house that has one of those old Black Lives Matter signs in the yard. Now, I've made the point before on Nerd Rage that Black Lives Matter is kind of a weird slogan. It's kind of a weird slogan. And part of it, of course, is actually the reaction it generated, in which a lot of people said in reaction that all lives matter. And the problem with that is that the stipulation of Black Lives Matter wasn't that all other lives didn't matter. Because the problem is, if you're really going to argue it, is that you have to be a little more complex about it. And of course, the people who say Black Lives Matter typically aren't up for a complex debate. But the counter argument for Black Lives Matter isn't that. The problem with Black Lives Matter as a slogan, rather, is that its stipulation is that, or its assumption is that Black lives don't matter to other people. And of course, it's a ridiculous assertion. We spent quite a few years in this country, and quite a few years before I was born in this country, trying to beat notions of racism and racial discrimination out of people, and for the most part succeeded. However, I can't help but notice something here, and I'll bring this back to the Robin Hood point in a short minute. But I couldn't help but notice something: is that the whole George Floyd thing spawning the Black Lives Matter movement rather missed a very crucial point. The problem isn't that Black Lives Matter, or rather that Black lives don't matter, to people, to other people, to white people, Asian people, whatever. The problem is, and this is the kind of introspection as you never get from people like this, is that Black lives don't matter to black people. Because if you look at the depiction of black people in, say, Robin with a Y hood, they are depicted in a very stereotypical fashion even, in that they are portrayed basically as hood thugs. They are portrayed as committing crimes. They are portrayed as sexually immoral. They are portrayed in ways that are unflattering to black people, but are also very true elements of the black community and of lived black lives, to use certain phrasing of the other side. It is a true portrayal of how black lives are in in reality. Maybe not necessarily in Canada, I imagine, but certainly in the United States. And that's kind of the thing that's really getting to me, and something that I've been kind of mulling over almost every time I pass by this sign. Like the thought crosses my mind, should I make a video on this? And I kindly did. Because I must admit to a certain level of sort of fatigue over it. I'm very tired of complaining about, white racism and law enforcement racism and all this, when the simple fact of the matter is, the problem is that blacks don't care about their own lives. Because they're sexually promiscuous, they engage in criminal activity at a rate far greater than their proportion of the population. The fathers are absent from their homes, which perpetuates the previous 2 points. Everything is wrong with the black community in the United States in the 21st century. And instead of addressing those problems seriously and directly, what are we doing instead? We complain about racism. We riot. I say we, of course I'm not a part of it, but nonetheless, using the royal we here, we destroy things instead of fixing things. And I can't help but feel that there's a critical lack of introspection that causes that kind of behavior. And it's very saddening. And it's very saddening that a mainstream not a mainstream show. It's a mainstream joke, if anything. But it's very disheartening that a show that on some level purports to be like an honest portrayal of black experiences does it in such a... what's the word I'm thinking of? It does it in such a unreflective way, in a way that literally puts a jar of condoms on the kitchen counter, rather than saying, hey, maybe we should be better than this.